Hey noble ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and have you ever heard of the channel Archaic Arms? 41,000 subscribers, really excellent channel. And today I found this video of theirs called The Most Underrated Ancient Projectile. I imagine, even looking at the thumbnail and picture, I imagine they're talking about the sling. And there is a lot that can be said specifically in the classical period when it comes to slingers as a unit deployed by classical armies. So I feel like whatever they show, I should be able to add some interesting commentary. So without further ado, let's go.
We all know of the arrow.
Oh gosh.
And the javelin.
That's the end of that camera.
Ancient projectiles so prolific as to even be practiced as a sport in the modern day.
Yes.
But what if there was another, also with its roots in prehistory, and equally widespread, yet so overlooked today?
Yep.
That, my friends, is the big rock.
I was going to say, that's a little small, although then again, that one hits you in the head, it's going to crack it. I really liked his throw. I think he did a really good job because I don't think I will be able to do it that well. Let me see it again.
Widespread, yet so overlooked today.
Boom. Man, I wonder how far that actually reached as a projectile. And did you notice that he said, apart from the bow and the javelin, there is another projectile, I think he said, that can be used. It comes from the prehistory too. And that is so true. Often when we think of archers and the idea of bow and arrow, we think of the medieval period, of course. We think of classical antiquity with some archers that were used as special auxiliary corps. But yeah, no, the bow and arrow is a prehistorical invention, and if memory isn't faulty, unless the evidence has changed, I remember that it can be traced when it comes to hunter-gatherers all the way back to the Mesolithic period. So before mankind settled in the Neolithic period with the beginning of agriculture, the bow and arrow was already a thing, and it had been a thing for tens of thousands of years. So yeah, bow and arrow is extremely ancient. Now, its military applications, that's different. We need to see, we're talking about specific ranged corps and how they are utilized and training. That's different. But I would say that hunters in the Mesolithic probably did use bows and arrows, although they mostly used them to hunt. They did use them against enemy tribes if there was some sort of prehistorical war. So yeah, it's really ancient. Not as ancient as the spear, but it is really ancient.
That, my friends, is the big rock.
Right.
Large stones have been a formidable projectile since the early Paleolithic.
Yeah.
Being heavy, hard and dense, and often readily available, they were commonly used for attack and defence for many thousands of years.
Ooh, nice.
They could be launched by hand or sling, and later staff slings and catapults.
Imperial Roman
Today,
artillery.
I'll share some of the ways the Romans used it,
oh, good,
as well as test a helmet against the considerable forces of this ancient missile.
Okay, that's fascinating. Now, this looks like an Imperial Gallic Type H, and it's the same type of helmet that I have. It's exactly the same. And these are a little bit on the cheap side, in the sense that these are helmets that are not great representations. That's something I always say the few times that I myself used this to do some testing. Let me show you. I have these two videos with bronze and brass maces. I think in the one with the brass, I used it against the helmet.
Steel of the...
Let me see. Yep, yeah, I did. Boom. Yeah, but now this does not mean, however, that the same would have happened with an actual original period accurate helmet used by a Roman soldier, because these are extremely cheap, sheet metal. They are very nicely polished. Well, this one is kind of rusty now. They're very nicely polished, which, you know, it's something that we can easily do now with machinery, as opposed to how it was done. Like a very polished helmet, and even in the medieval period, would have been very expensive. It's something that we can do with cheap helmets. So a cheap medieval helmet wouldn't have been polished, if you know what I mean. They're cheap in different reasons, but the thickness and the type of metal are very different. That's one thing that we need. Look at this hit. Look at this hit against the pumpkin. Check that out. Go. Ha! Oh, yeah. So, anyways, as I was saying, it's something that I do explain later, and I'm showing my other, like, accurate helmets.
My properly made heat-treated medium carbon steel barbute, this would not happen. You wouldn't.
Okay, so it really very much depends on what helmet and all of that. But with that out of the way, let's see what type of tests they did, because it's still going to be interesting anyways. I'm just saying it's not definitive.
Augustus states in De Re Militari, recruits are to be taught the art of throwing stones both with the hand and sling.
Yep.
And, formerly, all soldiers were trained to the practice of throwing stones of a pound weight with the hand, as this was thought a readier method since it did not require a sling. Here is a stone of approximately this weight, 1 libra or 1 Roman pound.
I was going to say because a Roman pound is different from a modern pound, so he's being accurate. Good.
Even though I don't practice throwing bare hand, it feels an optimum weight to throw. More than twice the weight of a baseball or cricket ball. There is less excess energy in the arm after the throw, making it surprisingly comfortable. Bare-hand throwers require little room compared to slingers, and that's their main advantage on the battlefield. For more power, a sling can be used. The 1 libra stone works very well with short, medium and long slings, but a lighter stone will provide a lot more range.
Man, this guy's
Sling
cool.
bullets very rarely weighed more than about 4 ounces or 115 grams, and yet stones of about 1 Greek mina or 435 grams are said to have been used in battle. This is because large stones have a lot of kinetic energy and momentum and were known to the ancients as an anti-armour projectile. Diodorus Siculus wrote, "But when Hamilcar saw that his men were being overpowered and that the Greeks in constantly increasing numbers were making their way into the camp, he brought up his slingers, who came from the Balearic Islands and numbered at least 1,000.
Yep.
By hurling a shower of great stones, they wounded many and even killed not a few of those who were attacking. And they shattered the defensive armour of most of them. For these men, who are accustomed to sling stones weighing a mina, contribute a great deal toward victory in battle, since from childhood they practice constantly with the sling. In this way they drove the Greeks from the camp and defeated them."
Fascinating stuff. Armor in question would be interesting to see what the armor was exactly. If we're talking about bronze, if we're talking about brass, if you're talking about some kind of iron that, of course, wasn't like carbon steel. Although then again, some ancient or classical iron oftentimes is steel. It's just that it's low carbon steel, but still it is steel. It would be interesting if they are shattering, for instance, if they're going through spolas made of leather, or maybe they're going through linothoraces. So it's an interesting thing to read. And of course, there are a million caveats that need to be taken into consideration, one of which is the period. But still, yeah, I truly believe it. 1,000 slingers. Oh, I wouldn't want to be in the receiving end.
Another feature is that this power is greatly accentuated when used from an elevated position, such as a fortification.
Oh, yeah.
In this context, stones can be stockpiled, making for a cheap and highly potent defense.
Absolutely. He's attacking a giant, though. I was expecting throwing down.
Large stones can be used in a variety of ways. They can be thrown in a high arc to rain down on the enemy.
Right.
They can be launched directly.
Man, this guy's
good.
Or
they can be cast as to bounce along the ground or at an angle to bounce up under shields.
And he hit it.
This was also used to great effect by stone.
Ooh, where he hit it. Oh, that would have been... oh, no. Oh, that would have hurt. But this guy's really good. Did you see how precise he was? Imagine how precise the professional slingers of the classical period would be. These guys could hit you in the face.
In throwing ballistae, whose round projectiles would bounce and travel great distances, potentially taking out many foes with a single shot.
Yep.
The smallest of the Vitruvius ballistas was the 2 libra. This means that the largest stone it could shoot was 2 Roman pounds, about 660 grams in weight. However, smaller and lighter projectiles could also be used, resulting in greater velocity. Thus, a round 1 libra stone can effectively be used by slingers.
Yeah, look at this. Look. I know this is fascinating information is sharing. I love it. A couple of things. Look at the shield. Look how this guy is embracing his shield. These type of shield, because sometimes we think of Roman period shields as all being center gripped and with a briefcase grip. But no, there are also these type of shields exist. I remember one more case in which we see a shield that is clearly strapped. Like in this case, we can't see it. We see he's holding it this way. It's possible that there is a strap here. Those also existed. It's just that they are not the type of shields. You can see another one here on the left. It's just that usually those are not the type of shields used by heavy infantry and even cavalry, depending. But there are situations in which those exist too. Let me see if I can show you that. I have a video about it. So Metatron. There you go. I found the video where I actually talk about this. Look at this. You can see there is a strap here as well as the section that he grips. It's an auxiliary soldier, I believe. And you can see that it's a completely different type of fastening. And it's definitely not just a briefcase center grip shields. In fact, you don't even see a hole in here for the hand to be encased in. So this is just one example, and it shouldn't be really difficult to believe, because at the end of the day, the Greeks, I think I have a picture of that, the Greeks did brace their shields, although that again in a bit more complicated system. But still, these type of shields that are strapped do exist in classical antiquity, and every time I see a picture or a representation of that, I have to point it out, because even though they probably weren't, they were just a minority or a fraction, majority of shields in this period, particularly with the Romans and the Celts, are briefcased, center bossed, still they did exist.
And hand throwers, as well as the lesser artillery. This potentially shared ammunition and versatility provides a great deal of adaptability and simplified logistics. However, because such stones are significantly larger than arrows or sling bullets, it makes them a lot easier to dodge. Where this was an issue, the Romans blackened them. This made even giant ballista stones much harder to see when hurtling towards you.
Smart bastards. Now,
for the helmet test. For this, I've got a Roman Gallic H-type helmet.
I told you it was type H. Got it.
It's a mass-market replica of 18-gauge construction.
Yeah.
But it should help illustrate the impact of heavy stones in general.
Very good, very good.
The first sling I'll use is a 13-inch Balearic style. Any shorter and bare-hand is preferable. There are numerous depictions of very short slings being used historically, and it increases throwing power while still being as compact as possible. Next, I'll use a 28-inch Balearic style. This is a medium-length sling, and is capable of generating significantly higher velocities, especially with lighter projectiles.
This guy's so good. His presentation
Let's
as well.
begin.
Yeah, let's go. Well, boom. Okay, hit the chick blade. Did it? Or was it the back blade? Ooh, that was a nice hit. Man, that would have hurt. Boom.
As you can see, it wasn't a completely square-on hit, partially glancing, but there was deformation from the impact.
Yep.
And it did transfer through the padding. Well, the inside of it is also dented, as you can see there.
Yeah.
And that did actually transfer through the padding to the melon, which is also damaged here. It was split open and has become a bit soft as a result.
Damn. Ooh, that was forehead. That was forehead strike. Yeah, you don't want to mess with this guy.
490 gram stone hit directly on the brow ridge here.
Which is why the brow is there, by the way.
But what's really interesting about that is you can see the deformation is not extreme.
Yep.
What this did was distribute the force over.
As I say again, very ingenious. Everything is so meticulously engineered when it comes to the Roman army and their equipment, weapons and armor. But in this case, we're discussing the the armor, of course. This, of course, would help as well if you were hitting the guy with a sword strike or an axe strike or a mace or club, because you hit this, the brim, instead of directly the skull of the helmet, and this does absolutely help dissipate at least some of that force. So very, very ingenious addition.
The brow ridge, and thus you can see the dent, that it did actually dent the helmet underneath, but as you can see that is distributed over a line, which means from the inside you can see that brow ridge has been forced into the helmet, but has dramatically reduced the deformation that would otherwise have occurred.
Absolutely. Oh, where did he hit? It was too fast. Oh, he hit the face. Yeah, that would be end of the legionary. Oh my gosh, the precision. I told you that historical slingers could hit you in the face. He just demonstrated it. And at that point, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. That's the end of it. That's the end of you. So yes, slingers must have been really scary. Of course, you would be raising your shield. So hopefully the shield is your first line of defense, right? The armor, whether it be La Riga Segmentata that I've got in the back there, or whether it be the helmet, that's the secondary line of defense, is when you F up with a shield. So in theory, this legionary has his shield in front of him. You throw the thing and he either raises the shield or he's whatever already underneath the shield. And so you hit the shield and that's it. But this absolutely has happened in history. 100% it has happened in history. And so when the shield fails to provide that barrier between the attack and the person, then hopefully the secondary line of defense, meaning the armor, will come in. But in this case, bye-bye. System shut down.
Evidently my aim was too good, and I hit him right in the face, which is not a good test for the helmet.
You could add a little bit of ham now. You could eat like some ham with it, drink a little Fanta.
Right in the chin. The watermelon subsequently obliterated on the bottom.
That also tells you, though, why it's so important to have the helmet, because imagine, even the previous strikes that he did when he hit the helmet, it deformed the helmet. But if the helmet wasn't there, this would have happened, most likely, with each and every single one of those strikes, particularly the one in here.
Really, I mean, it just completely exploded. Carved that watermelon inside out.
Gosh. Oh, I'm glad he had multiple. Okay, that's another chick plate. Almost. It's like the temple, is it? Man, that would ring your ear.
So here's the helmet after that hit.
It's the temple.
Just a glancing blow here over the rivet. Did cause deformation a little bit. And there isn't any visible damage on the watermelon beneath. So in this instance, if you weren't wearing a helmet, that could well,
save your life,
you pop your clogs. But with a helmet on, it protects you. And I think these glancing blows would actually have been more common than direct hits. And this is where a helmet, as a secondary defense,
there
will
we
save
go.
your life.
You see, secondary, this guy is good. This guy knows what he's talking about. Not only he knows what he's doing, but he knows what he's talking about. Like him very much. Excellent channel. Appreciate the long hair from fellow long hair men. Let's see. That's another KILL. Yeah. Man, you need to dumb down your skill for this test. You need to pretend not to be good.
Coming up to the target this time, you can see the brow of the helmet is attached.
That's because it's a cheap helmet.
The armor cap has been excluded from the helmet, and the melon, unfortunately, has now met its end.
Yep. Melon 2. I think it's melon 3 by now, to be honest. So that's another... Oh, good. He went... Wow. Let's see.
This was a new melon.
Yes.
And that is...
Yeah, it's fine.
Unscathed, I believe. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean...
Look at that.
That's
so
a
that
dent.
just missed the bar and just was a glancing blow on top. But it was fairly well placed, right on the almost the crown there.
Yeah, it was a direct hit.
And inside, that is quite a significant dent there.
Oh, you hit the stones. Oh no, he didn't. Never mind. Where did you hit? Sort of, a little bit between the chick plate and the stone, I guess. Boom. Man, that's a headache right there. That's a migraine. Give him ibuprofen. That's another. Man, this guy. The Romans are gonna employ you immediately. They'll be like, get this guy, pay him. My gosh, that's an amazing shot. You did both. GG, well played.
Now that was an exciting shot.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
No.
Oh. Wow.
My gosh.
Now, that helmet hasn't really done much for the user here.
No.
Or rather, should I say, for the melon. Because despite it actually being a square-on hit on the helmet, right here on the above the eyes,
You also hit the melon.
It was a catastrophic caving.
It was a catastrophic, yeah, because you can see this is kind of half the stone, and so there is another half of stone here that hit directly. Phenomenal strike. I'm going to stop because I don't want to watch until the end. So for his conclusions, guy, I'm going to give him a like. And for his conclusions, absolutely finish watching the video. Give him a like, give him a comment, and subscribe to his channel because he has got really, really interesting videos. He doesn't have that many, only has 19. And this was 7 months ago, so I really hope that he starts posting again because I love his channel. And this guy really knows what he's doing with slings. And who knows, maybe he's also an excellent archer or javelin thrower. Ooh, reinvented a plumbata. I'm definitely going to react to this one next. But for today, I think this is good. Investigating and experimenting with archaic arms and technology. Love it. Thank you very much for posting it, Archaic Arms. And thank you very much, Noble Ones, for watching this video. See you tomorrow.